They said this story was already solved before the investigation even began, before the police finished asking questions, before the evidence was examined, before the truth had a chance to breathe. Because when a woman disappears, and the man beside her is powerful, wealthy, and untouchable, the world doesn't wait for answers. It creates its own. And this time, the man they chose to destroy was called Ethan Calloway. Before we go any further, take a second right now. Like this video, subscribe to Royal Palace, and turn on notifications so you never miss stories where power, obsession, and truth collide. Your support keeps these stories alive. Ethan Calloway was not royalty in the traditional sense, but in America, he might as well have been. His family name opened doors that never appeared on maps. Boardrooms, courtrooms, political corridors where laws were written quietly and erased even faster. He grew up in a world where privacy was currency and silence was protection. But none of that mattered the morning Lauren Mitchell vanished. Lauren had been with Ethan for 5 years. Not publicly glamorous, not interested in fame. She avoided cameras the way others chased them. People said she softened him. Others said she didn't belong. On a quiet winter morning in Boston, Lauren failed to show up for work. Her phone rang unanswered. Her apartment door was locked from the inside. When police entered, nothing looked disturbed. No overturned furniture, no broken glass, no note, just absence. By evening, the story leaked. And by morning, the country had already chosen its villain. Ethan Calloway was summoned for questioning. He arrived in a dark coat, eyes tired, voice steady. Too steady. That was the first accusation. They said grief should look louder, messier, more desperate. He answered every question, provided every message, opened every door. But when you are powerful, cooperation is never seen as innocence. It is seen as strategy. The headlines grew teeth. They spoke of jealousy, control, hidden rage. Old photographs were replayed endlessly, moments frozen out of context. A glance turned into menace. A pause turned into guilt. Lauren's friends were interviewed. So were Ethan's enemies. Social media did the rest. Strangers who had never met either of them suddenly knew everything. They knew how Ethan thought, how he loved, how he must have snapped. The phrase everyone used was the same. He had motive. 5 years together. Talks of marriage, rumors of tension. And then she disappeared. Ethan watched as his life became a spectacle. He lost business partnerships. His family's name appeared beside words like investigation and suspicion. People crossed the street to avoid him. And still, Lauren was gone. Weeks passed. Search teams scoured rivers and wooded areas. Every tip was followed. Nothing. Months passed. The story hardened into belief. Ethan was no longer the boyfriend of a missing woman. He was the man who got away with something. And then the court hearings began. Not criminal charges, no body, no evidence. But public suspicion is louder than any gavel. He was dragged through depositions, through character assessments, through endless analysis of his emotional responses. The question everyone wanted answered was never asked directly. It was implied. What did you do to her? And yet, through all of it, Ethan repeated the same sentence. If Lauren is alive, she did not leave by choice. People laughed at that. They said it was denial, a guilty man clinging to hope. But there was something in his voice investigators could not explain. It wasn't fear of prison. It was fear of something else. As the first year passed, the searches slowed. Interest faded. But Ethan did not move on. He funded private investigators, followed leads personally. Friends said he barely slept, barely ate. He stopped defending himself publicly. He stopped reading the news. But he never stopped looking. If you're still watching at this point, drop a comment with, "I'm still here." Let's see who's truly following this shocking story. Halfway across the world, in places no one thought to look, Lauren Mitchell was learning how fear changes shape. When she disappeared, it was not sudden violence. It was persuasion. Isolation. A man named Victor Hale had entered her life quietly years earlier. An American expatriate, immense wealth, no visible ties. He offered mentorship at first, then protection, then escape. He told her Ethan's world would destroy her, that powerful families never let outsiders leave cleanly. At first, Lauren resisted. Then Victor showed her how much control he already had. He knew where she went, who she spoke to, what flights she searched. When she tried to pull away, the threats began. Not shouted, not dramatic, calculated. Disappear with me, or disappear completely. The day she vanished, she left nothing behind because she wasn't allowed to take anything. Her passport was replaced, her phone destroyed, her name erased. Victor moved her through countries where money replaced scrutiny. Lauren learned how silence could be enforced without chains. Back home, Ethan was becoming a ghost. 2 years passed. Then came the mistake. At an international border in South America, a woman traveling under an assumed identity triggered a system alert. She looked older, thinner, watched constantly by the man beside her. Facial recognition confirmed it. Lauren Mitchell was alive. The truth unraveled quickly after that. Victor Hale was arrested. The evidence was overwhelming. Messages, financial records, surveillance footage. Lauren testified. Her voice shook as she spoke. She said the most dangerous man in her life was never the one the world accused. The news broke quietly. No outrage, no trending hashtags. Ethan Calloway was officially cleared. But exoneration does not restore reputations. It does not give back years. It does not erase what suspicion carves into a person. Ethan never returned to public life. He never sued the media, never gave interviews. Lauren disappeared again, this time by choice, and the world moved on. But the lesson remained. When obsession hides behind wealth, it is invisible. When power exists without proof, it is assumed guilty, and truth arrives last. If this story stayed with you, like the video, subscribe to Royal Palace, and share this with someone who believes headlines too quickly. Because the most dangerous stories are the ones we think we already understand.